What's up, Met fans, and welcome back to Talking Mets and Rob. How is everybody doing, guys? Live from my hotel room in Colorado right now. Well, the Mets took another series. Ho hum, another series victory. Going to San Francisco for the next road trip. Not me, but the Mets. So we are here right now. I'm here right now in Colorado, hanging out in the hotel room, just relaxing. Been a very interesting and very exhausting couple of days for sure. I know you guys seen a couple of the videos. You probably saw SNY posting about the center line yesterday in Coors Field. It was a lot of fun. Long 2 days, guys. I tell you that. But the good news is, how good is this Mets team without their big boys in the lineups? Missing Scherzer, not having McGill. It's just Luis Guillorme is all of a sudden becoming the guy who might be the starting third baseman for a little while until Escobar figures it out. I mean, Escobar has been our best player on the field the last 5 games. So it's nice to see that Guillorme is coming around to the player I think some of us expected. Obviously he's not going to, be a big bopper, but he's going to hit for average. Great defense as we saw today. Mets didn't score a lot of runs, but they only needed one. The Taiwan Walker pitched great. The bullpen came in, did his job. Diaz with another save. That's exactly what we've been waiting for a team that we know is struggling to score runs, but still finds a way to win almost every single day. And this is the 14th time after a loss the New York Mets won the game after they lost. That is something that the Mets would never have done in years past. And it just shows you that it's a next man up mentality. We're missing a couple of guys, there's no doubt about it. Guys are struggling. This Mets team still hasn't been running on all cylinders as of yet. 1 week it's the pitching, that's great. 1 week it's the offense doing well. And it's never has come together as of yet. And that's just a sign of a good team. Guillorme, who basically this team needs right now, considering the fact that Escobar is garbage at this point, that's exactly what the Mets need from these guys. And good ball clubs, great ball clubs, World Series aspirations ball clubs has when they are striving for a World Series championship. So once again, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit on that like button. If you're new to the channel, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. So once again, guys, I am live from Colorado in my hotel room right now. I am a little outside of the Denver area, but it's still Colorado, obviously. So it's been a very weird 3 days considering the weather. When I landed, it was snowing, and it didn't stop snowing until Saturday morning. And then it was just, it was sunny and nice and comfortable. And then for the day game, and then the second game at night was freezing. So I don't even know what the hell we doing right now. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this weather's insane. I mean, in May, you got a foot of snow in Colorado, and in the Denver area, it's 5 or 6 inches. And then on top of that, I didn't know what the hell to pack. First I started out packing shorts and shirts, and then I had to rearrange my whole suitcase for winter gear. And that just left a lot less room to bring stuff, because there was no way I'm going to check in a bag to go 4 days in Colorado. So I had to pack accordingly. But who cares about me? Let's worry about what's been going on with the Mets. So first off, I'm going to say what up to everybody in the chat. So if you're tuning in right now, we got 29 people in the stream right now. Say what's up. Ryan, how you doing? Let me just make sure I get to everybody. Football, Eddie. Don't worry, guys. I'm on my phone right now, so don't mind me. I didn't bring my laptop with me because, I had to pack for winter. So if you see my hand in the way, It's just me trying to scroll through the comments on a phone. So it's not as easy as the laptop. So let me just give me a second, guys. Eddie Grant, a member of Talking Mets and Rob. Joseph, a member of Talking Mets and Rob. John, what's up? Sean, a member of Talking Mets and Rob. What's up, guys? Robert, Ryan, Stevie, who else is here? Gio, Michael, PJC, Lane, Subaru, MTA Prodigy, member of Talking Mets and Rob. What's up, guys? All right, so that's who we have as of right now. So, let's see. Let's start at the top over here and see what people have said. Let's see. Grant, sorry about this week in fantasy. You know how it goes. Joseph, hello, Rob. Weather in Colorado is nice for you tonight. Well, there's no game. The game already happened. So, tonight is just heading out to the bar across the street. It's an arcade, like an old-time arcade and bar. So I'll be heading there in a few hours, hanging out with a couple more people that are still hanging around in Colorado. And then, go to sleep. And then tomorrow's more of a comfortable, relaxed day. It's my day before I fly out on Tuesday. So that's what I'm just going to be doing tomorrow. Get some breakfast, relax a little bit, and just enjoy. Good evening, Rob and fellow Mets fans. Of course, Sean, as always. Robert, what's up? Yeah, John, 13 games over 500. Listen, everybody's it feels like the Mets, who have the best record in the NL, are like still under the radar, like still not getting the respect that this team deserves. Maybe that's because of the injuries. They don't have the star power on this team as teams with a record like the Mets would have. Like, why do the Yankees get all the credit? Yes, they have the best record in baseball, but they got the stars on the team. The same thing with other teams. Like the Astros, they still have the Altuves of the world, the Bregmans of the world. The Angels got Ohtani and Trout. The Mets are like under the radar, and you know what? I like it. I don't want to be the center of attention. There's no need for that. We'll worry about the center of attention when we make the playoffs. But I mean, this team is finding every day. It seems like there's somebody new that does the job. And Guillermo was clearly the star of the game today, no doubt about that. Yesterday was game two was let's be honest, a shit show. The pitcher was just not there. I mean, I don't know what we couldn't really expect the offense to try to catch up to 11 runs. That was just a little crazy. But we did well in the day game, the first game. So again, as long as this team keeps on taking series, I know the Mets haven't swept the series yet. But if we keep on taking series, that just is leading towards 92 to 95 plus wins. And it's just that simple. The 13 games over 500 is a good start, especially, well, it was important to take this series starting the West Coast trip, going to a tough environment in San Francisco against a really good Giants team and playing those guys. So it's not going to be easy, but we took the Rockies series, which we needed, and we'll see what happens here. Maybe we'll, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have a 4-game set, if I'm not mistaken. So if we split the series against the Giants, I'm happy with that, honestly. So that's the way I feel. Splitting the series, we don't really, we still remain 13 games over 500. And, the teams that are behind us have to win a couple of games in a row just to gain any bit of ground. So that's where I see it is right now. Take it split and come back home. That's the way I see it. Ryan, series win, boys. Absolutely. LFGM, Stevie. Grant, I'm just chilling right now. Like I said, baseball is over in Denver now for Mets fans. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a few people left that are leaving tomorrow. I think I'm one of the last ones to leave because I don't like just to leave right after the games and just go. I try to enjoy the city a little bit, enjoy the state. I don't know if you guys noticed, or I don't think I posted anything on YouTube, but I hiked up a mountain today, Pikes Peak, in somewhere in Colorado. I don't even know what the hell it is. But I hiked up to the 14,000 feet on Pikes Peak. So I got a few pictures of that. I had the Mets hat, taking a picture of the mountain, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a funny joke, if you want to call it a joke, saying, uh, I'm at Pikes Peak right now, 14,000 feet to try to find Pete Alonso's home run. So I was gonna do something like that. So I'm gonna post a couple of pictures, from the seven line outing, the pregame, during the game, after the game, and then at the bar that we were at as well. So you're gonna get a couple of pictures on the community page as always. So you guys can check that out. I'll probably do that sometime. If not tonight, definitely tomorrow. So you get an idea of how it looked, with all the sea of orange and all that fun stuff. We actually marched from the pregame bar to Coors Field as a group, which is always fun. I got videos of that. But I can guarantee you, if you follow the Seven Line Twitter account or Instagram account or Facebook account, Darren definitely posted that already. If you don't want to wait for me to post that video, but definitely it was a good time. Uh, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of beers, a lot of fun. But that's what we do here. We have fun, and then we get down to the business, which is baseball. John, I agree. Escobar is not playing well, right? I think it's only fair Guillermo is stepping up and playing well. How long is that going to last? I don't know. Is he finally coming into his own? I don't know. But he needs to play every day. Sit Escobar for a couple of games, give him a break, give him a mental break, like completely, and let Guillermo play until he starts playing badly. That's when you put Escobar back in. You have to play the hot hand, in my opinion. But I agree with you, John. Yeah, PJ, like I said, you know how it is when you're at a ball game. There's so many people. I was with people. You know, I don't know that stadium very well, so it's not like I can say, "Oh, meet me here." But I was, it was a. I don't know if you went to all the games, but I went to them. But like I said, I was at the Mile High seat one game, and then all that field level for that seven line outing, and then today I was just walking around the ballpark, checking everything out and taking in the game. So, but we'll see. At some point, we'll see. I'll try to see as many people as I possibly can. Let's see. Yeah, Michael. You know what? It hasn't affected me as much as I thought it would. Honestly, obviously hiking up the mountain, you're gonna feel it. But like other than that, I haven't really like. It's not like I'm like running down the block or like like kept trying to catch my breath type of altitude climate change. But other than that, it hasn't really affected me except hiking up the mountain. So, but then again, I'm not trying to run around Colorado looking like a fool. So, yeah, John, it's really nice here. Again, I haven't been downtown a lot besides when I go to the games, and maybe I'll hit up a bar. But downtown Denver is pretty cool. Like there's a lot going on. Like if you ever travel to Coors Field, even if it's for not for a Met game, just in general, the vibe around the ballpark is cool. They got bars, clubs, restaurants, everything you need is there, and they have hotels all over the place around there. So you don't even need to rent a car to stay downtown. You could just walk to everything. So it's a pretty cool environment. Again, I'm outside of the downtown area, so because I'm more of the type, when I go on a road trip to watch the Met games, I like to do other things other than just the baseball games. Even though that's why I'm primarily there. I like to do things that are known in the state, like the Rocky Mountains. That's why I done it. I'm gonna go to the Denver Zoo tomorrow. So things like that are iconic in this state. I try to do. Just like when I'm in Florida, I like to do the theme parks, uh, shark diving, all that crazy stuff. And like any of Pittsburgh, checking out other things there and all that fun stuff. Philadelphia, all that stuff. But Denver's really nice. If you can go out here, go out here. Even if it's not for a Met game, it's pretty cool out here. Yeah, PJC, you know what it is? Sometimes like after the video or a stream is done and you comment on it or something like, or on a comment on the stream, I can't comment you directly unless you comment me. If you would have commented me on like any of the videos, maybe I would have found it. But I'm not gonna lie, people comment me all day, every day on videos that were like a week ago, and I'm trying to respond to everybody. But listen, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's hard to keep up. So it's hard to keep up with the comments. After the videos are done. So I try to. Like I said, I woke up this morning. I had 172 messages or comments throughout all my videos on my channel from people saying, "Oh, we saw the 7 line." Like I try to respond to everybody, but it's not that easy to do so, especially when I'm technically on vacation, trying to do things. But I'm not ignoring you guys. I promise you that. Yeah, the classic pick would have been great, man. For that, hit up 16th Street. Honestly, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know where that is. I'm assuming downtown. I would have to, GPS that sucker. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a trek out uh, in an hour or so. Check out downtown again. And actually not worried about a game. Just walk around and see what's going on. Lane, that's a good question. I know Thomas Sapucki is supposed to be pitching one of the games in San Francisco. Obviously David Peterson. You're gonna have Bassett and probably Williams. So it's not gonna be pleasant. But again, the Mets have been winning ball games despite the injuries in the rotation. So again, Thomas Sapucki is supposed to be up pitching one of the games. David Peterson's going to pitch. Bassett's going to pitch, and I think Trevor Williams, if I'm not mistaken. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday. Yeah, I think Trevor Williams is going to play pitch the last game of the series. I could be wrong. All right, let's see. Michael, I don't want Bartolo Colon. Oh, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Trying to, it's like a makeshift. Like, just give me a second, guys. I'm a little wobbly here. Technical difficulties, guys. All right, there we go. All right, problem solved. Yeah, I don't want him in my on this team. I mean, can he pitch? I guess. You see videos of him throwing. I mean, what is he throwing? Probably like 88 miles an hour, probably with his fastball. Again, could he get somebody out? Yeah, everybody strikes out in this game now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he strikes somebody out. But I'm not. Look, this team's trying to win. We're not trying to have nostalgia moments here. Obviously his first game back at Citi Field pitching would be like pretty cool. But other than that, is he really going to make us win ball games? I doubt it. Let's look at more realistic things like Montas, Talamal, of the Reds. Guys like that. The Mets are scouting those two guys, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets are going to try to, work a trade here. And like I've been saying for the last year and a half, Ronnie Mauricio is your number one trade chip that is got to be in one of these trades, especially if it's for a big bat, a big arm. It has to get done. Once again, Ronnie Mauricio was blocked. Now that Jeff McNeil is playing the way he's playing, he's blocked at second. Lindor obviously blocked at shortstop. Ronnie Mauricio is not a third baseman. He's not going to play third base. He practiced a little bit in the outfield, but I doubt the Mets are going to try to mess with him. And he's going to remain more valuable as a shortstop. That's the reason why the Mets haven't moved his position, even if it would benefit us as an organization moving him to the outfield or third base and make him work on his game on those positions. So it just makes sense to keep him at shortstop, let his value continue to increase, and then when you need that big bat or that big arm in the rotation, you use that chip to get it done. But not Bartolo Colon. Yeah, Moose, big W today, buddy. Another series victory. All right, I just saw a lot of comments coming. Damn it. Trying to catch up to everybody. So give me a second here. I'm on my phone right now, so it's a little harder checking all the comments. PJC, I went to the All-Star game at Citi Field in 2013. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Merlin, I did a video about that when it came to Shane Bieber about a year ago. I don't know how big Cleveland wants to uh, trade him, but you never know. The Mets have the pieces. It's just, are they willing to give those pieces to get that? And like I said, if it's a Shane Bieber who's under control, I don't mind giving up a couple of prospects. Obviously, I think Beatty and Alvarez are off limits, but Mauricio and pick your other guys, I'm fine with that. If it's, especially if they're on the contract, it's not a JD Martinez situation where he's going to be a rental. So it's probably not going to cost too much at all. But a guy like Shane Bieber, who has a couple of years left on control, is going to take quite a few prospects and probably a guy like a Dominic Smith in a trade as well. But the Mets have to do that. Dominic Smith is, besides defensively, he's kind of useless on his team right now. I know defensively it's hard to lose that big defensive replacement late in games, but there's more important things this Mets team needs right now. Their defense has been pretty good, even without Dominic Smith playing every day. So, this team needs a big bat in the lineup. This team needs another starting pitcher, a good starting pitcher, not a back of the rotation starter. We need a solid number 2 or 3, because you're not going to have Scherzer for 6 to 8 weeks, and Bassett's your ace at the moment. So, they just have to do what they have to do. And I trust Epler to make a big move. He always made big moves with the Angels. Just because they didn't work out doesn't mean that he didn't make big moves. If you look at his tenure with the Angels, he always made a lot of trades during the year. And sometimes they were big trades. Remember that whole big trade with the signing of Justin Upton? They always make big trades. They always make big signings. That's what Epler always did. So I don't see any reason why he would change now, especially when his team does need help. All right, PJ, say I'll look into it, buddy. Well, Robert, you know what? I would like both of them, but I don't know how realistic that is, honestly. So, see, it's hard because I think if David Peterson, obviously he's not Max Scherzer, but he definitely can be a solid pitcher. Give you 5 or 6 innings, 2 or 3 runs. But that Martinez bat in that lineup, protecting Pete Alonso, I think can make all the difference in the world. And I still think the rotation, even with the injuries, is still pretty damn good. Look, you see how Walker pitched today. Walker could pitch like that, but I know he's been inconsistent. He'll have one really good outing and then an okay outing the next outing. But you still got Chris Bassett, who, let's be honest, even though Montas is technically the ace of the staff of the A's, Chris Bassett was the ace of that staff. So Chris Bassett can fill in perfectly as the ace. Right now, Carrasco is your number 2. Walker's your number 3. So McGill's going to be coming back in about a week or so. And you got David Peterson, and you're going to have Zapucki until McGill comes back, which I think McGill is probably coming back next week. So at the end of the day, I think the rotation can withstand the injury of Scherzer. I think we'll be okay. That's why I'd rather have that bat, because it just makes that lineup even more difficult. Just think, you'll have Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Martinez, McNeil, Kana, and then you trickle down the last couple of guys. So that it just expands your lineup, and that 1 through 7 is scary. And the problem with the Mets lineup, they win games this way, but I don't think it's very, I wouldn't say sustainable, but I think it's more of the fact that, when this team is trailing or it needs that big home run, if Alonso's not up, we're probably not getting that big home run. That's what worries me about this team. And that's why I think the big bat is probably more needed than a starting pitcher. Again, I think we need bullpen help for sure. Now, if you tell me that the Mets go out and get a big bat like JD Martinez and a solid arm in the bullpen, a very good arm in the bullpen, I will be satisfied with the starting rotation because I think it's still a pretty listen. If you gave the guys that we have right now in our rotation, Bassett, Carrasco, Walker, Peterson, and McGill, and throw it on another team, there's about 12 or 13 other teams that would take that rotation. And that's why I think the lineup is just a little bit more needed at this point. Again, can you make one later in the closer to the deadline and get in back into the rotation guy when Scherzer comes back and McGill will already be back and maybe DeGrom will be back by the end of July or middle of July? I know people are talking about starters a lot, but this lineup needs a big bat and this bullpen needs another big arm. Let's see. Yeah, Ryan, honestly, when it comes to that, let me just fix the camera a little bit. Yeah, you know what? I think 1 out of 3, I think it would be bad, honestly. Uh, I kind of think that it's important to win a series or split. I think it's 4 games. Am I not? Did I miss that? Isn't it? I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Again, I think if it's 3 games. Look, 1 out of 3 obviously is not terrible. You don't want to get swept, but I still want to take the series. We're missing Rodon, so that's good. I think we're facing I think 3 righties uh against the Giants, so there's no left-handers that we're facing against the Giants, so that's good. That should help us out. Yeah, we'd rather sweep the Phillies, but you know what? Taking 2 out of 3 coming home after taking if you take 2 out of 3 against the Giants and come home and face the Phils, like you could put the nail in the coffin uh for the Phillies. If the Mets take care of business, take 2 out of 3 against the Giants and beat the hell out of the Phillies. That's what the Mets need to do. How nice would it be to find a way to sweep the Phillies coming back home? Oh, that would be great, but we got to take care of business against the Giants first. Joey, remember talking Mets and Rob, another weekend series win. What else is new? Ho hum. All right, let me find. Hi, Moose. Have a good day, buddy. Yeah, Roberto, I agree. Let me just get that comment right up there. I agree. Like I said, I think the power bat is so much more important to this lineup for protection. When Alonso is struggling at the plate and he's not hitting for power during that little struggle, like a weak struggle, this team doesn't hit home runs, and that's tough. I know you can win in other ways, but when that lineup doesn't string together 3-4 hits in a row during an inning, they're not scoring, and that's the biggest thing. I know people are talking about Roberto. I know you just said about Contreras. That's interesting, but I like Contreras, and I did a video before in the offseason about trying to acquire him. Obviously, he's a free agent after this year, so it'll be a rental. Um, I don't think the Mets are going to go to catcher route. I think with Nito and Mazeika, they filled in pretty well with McCann out, and when McCann comes back, I don't think they're looking for offense. I know you kill 2 birds with 1 stone with Contreras, who's a very good catcher and a really good bat in that lineup. But I don't know if the Mets are going to go to catcher route. I think they're going to go more of the JD Martinez route. I think they're going to go exclusively for a guy who can be 90% DH. And that's a guy like JD Martinez. What about Josh Bell from the Nationals? A guy like that who I think the Mets are going to be looking at. And yes, that guy from Cincinnati, Mahle, Mahle, that guy. So we'll see. The Mets are scouting Montas and Mal right now from Oakland and Cincinnati, respectfully. So we'll see. Yeah, I know that's crazy. The 15th shutout in Coors Park history. Again, you know what's funny? Like like when I was at the game, and certain balls that looked like they weren't going out just flew in that thin air. It's crazy. Like seeing it on TV is one thing, but seeing it in person, like the ball just seems like it moves differently, which obviously it does in Coors Field because of the thin air and the high altitude. It's pretty cool though. Yeah, well, J Ram already signed with the Guardians. He ain't going anywhere. So JD Martinez is the guy. I'd be shocked if the Mets don't try to get him. It is a 3-game series. Okay, thank you. 5-0 White Sox. Yankees getting their ass kicked. I love it. Sorry, guys. There's not a lot of channels on this hotel TV, so I'm watching ESPN right now. I'm watching the Yankees get beat, and an asshole Yankee fan threw the ball back. So 5-0 White Sox in the top of the eighth. Bravo, bravo. Honestly though, I like Josh Bell a lot. Like he found a way to hit for average now, and that's a scary thing for Josh Bell. If he finds his power alone with that average, I do think it's going to be that could be a possibility for sure. I know there's been rumors about um, Juan Soto possibly getting traded during the summer. So I doubt. I don't know. I mean, would the Mets if Soto becomes available, I would give up anybody we can to get Juan Soto. And yes, I understand. Now, the one guy I don't think is that might not be touched is probably Alvarez. Everybody else would be on the table. And I know it's going to cost a lot, but when you get a guy who still has 2 years, 3 years, well, at this point, it'd be 2 years left until free agency. Cohen's not going to let him go. So you're going to sign him. The guy's going to be, what, 25 years old when he becomes a free agent? You could sign him for 10 years and still get about 8 years of his prime years in that 10-year deal. So, damn. Like, if you can do that, you got to get it done. Oh, that looks like another home run. Okay. 5-0 White Sox. So, yeah, guys, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a guy like that's kind of like, a 28-year-old guy that the Mets would be trading for. He's going to be a 23-year-old kid, 24-year-old, 23-year-old kid that you still have 2 years of control, and the Mets will sign him to an outrageous deal, and you'll have him until he's 35, 36, and you'll have so many years of his prime. It really doesn't matter when people are like, oh, you're going to give up a lot and your prospects. Yeah, okay, but you're not going to bring a prospect up until he's Soto's age anyway. So you're basically gaining a star power guy that you don't really know what this prospect's going to bring you. We can all, be so happy with Alvarez the way he looks, but he can be a bust when he comes up to the majors. We don't know that. Too many people put too much into prospects, and I think that's why a lot of teams fail. They don't make that one big move that could put them over the top because they wanted to hold on to their prospects, and then it becomes a disaster. I don't want the Mets to do that. If the Mets have the opportunity to get Juan Soto, you put the best package you possibly can to get it done. You worry about the prospects down the road. You're always going to have draft picks. You're always going to have a draft every year. You stockpile it back that way. Everybody's so focused on prospects when if everybody hasn't been paying attention, this is the win now team. We have the oldest team in baseball. You got to get it done. You got a 3-year window before you have to start worrying about prospects panning out. But when you have Juan Soto, when you have Pete Alonso, when you have Jeff McNeil, if you happen to have to give Beatty and, Vientos and Alex Ramirez and Mauricio, all those guys to get Juan Soto and still find a way to keep Alvarez. You bring up Alvarez, you have Soto, you have Alonso, you have Jeff McNeil. You still have Scherzer for 2 more years. DeGrom's going to be back. It's situations like this where I think if you make that move, Juan Soto can put you over the top, and that's what I think is more important. This team is a win now team. You can't be waiting around for prospects because then you're just kind of saying, well, let's just hope this team can win a World Series, and then we'll have our prospects anyway. Well, you don't win that way. There's always one big move a team makes at the deadline that puts them over the top for a championship. We see it every year. We see in the Nationals make those signings, and the Braves last year make those trades that put them over the top. The Dodgers getting Mookie Betts. The Dodgers making more bullpen moves during their World Series run in 2020 in the shortened season. All of that. And you see it every year. The team that wins the World Series, they always make one big move at the deadline. If that's a bullpen arm, if that's a bat, if that's a starting pitcher, or anything that helps this team, they always find a way to. It always makes a difference in the world, getting them to a championship. It's always that way. And if you can get Juan Soto, you freaking do it. Worry about the prospects down the road. Again, even if one or two of them pan out. Now, you also have to think, yes, you're trading these guys in division, and they can bite you in the ass later on. But Juan Soto can bite the Nationals in the ass year after year after year. And you never know. What happens if you trade him to Washington? You still get Juan Soto, and you say if you trade 4 prospects and only 1 out of the 4 pan out, you technically won that trade. So you don't really know a prospect ever. Mauricio, Beatty, Alvarez, are they ever going to get to the level of Juan Soto or Mike Trout or guys like that? Or Aaron Judge? No, I don't think they are. I'm not saying they're not going to be really good players, but you're trading unknowns for a known player in Soto. That's why you got to make that trade if you can. Let's see. Let me just check the. Yeah, Joey, exactly. He stated he would love to play for the Mets. He almost convinced his brother, for sure. Strike, I understand what you mean. Now, I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I think you're gonna have to keep Beatty or Alvarez. One of those guys have to be off the table. Pick one of those. But the Mets can still make a deal for Juan Soto, leaving Beatty or Alvarez out. And everybody keeps on talking about Matthew Allen. Listen, guys, Allen's been out for 2.5 years. And not saying he's not going to be good, but we can't keep on waiting for Matt Allen here. Seriously. I get it. This team is going to need pitching at some point. But I do think for sure, like I said, if you want to keep Beatty or Alvarez, pick one. Again, I don't care which one you want to keep. Honestly, I think they're both at the same level. It's just, see, in my opinion, I always worry about a catcher that's a top prospect. They get beat up. I can see, can Alvarez be a Molina type who was a pain in the ass for 10 plus years? Yeah, sure. But 9 out of 10 times it's probably unrealistic. The catcher gets beat up so much behind the plate. He's got to worry about the pitching staff. Can he keep his offense up? Beatty, on the other hand, you can play him 6 days a week, maybe 7 days a week, every game. Alvarez, you can't. So I think Beatty's more valuable than Alvarez. If you got to give Alvarez, Allen, Mauricio, and pick another top 10, a Ramirez for Soto, I'm doing that trade. I'm sorry, guys. I am. You still got 2.5 years of Soto, and Cohen's not going to let him go. You signed him for a massive, unprecedented deal. So I honestly think you do that trade. And the reason why I would give up Alvarez is, Strike, you just said it. He's not, I can see if he was a great defensive catcher along with the great offense. We can't have a guy, that, you can have a similar situation like Gary Sanchez. Not saying that Alvarez would be Gary Sanchez, but Gary Sanchez was projected to be a decent catcher, but great offense. His catching was so bad that the offense didn't matter. And he couldn't play every day because of that. We can't fall into that spot where we trade Beatty instead of Alvarez. Alvarez comes up, is not a great catcher or a respectable catcher where he's having problems framing pitches or blocking pitches behind the plate or throwing guys out even though he has a cannon for an arm. If one of those don't work out, you're going to have a problem playing him every day, which mitigates his offense. And that's the problem that I have with our top prospect being a catcher. Why I would think about Alvarez over Beatty in a deal for Juan Soto. But Dominic Smith for JD Martinez, the Red Sox need a first baseman. It would be perfect. I would do that in a heartbeat. And you could still keep your prospects and wait one day for Soto to become a free agent and then sign him. Grant, exactly. That's what we were just talking about. And like I said, that's the toughest part about having a catcher as your top prospect. Again, if he's a Salvador Perez, a Yadier Molina, who on both sides of the lines, at bat and defensively, he's otherworldly. Well, perfect. But how realistic is that? You know what I'm saying, guys? And if it's not realistic, again, we're not going to know. But yes, if you trade Alvarez for Juan Soto and other prospects and keep Beatty, yes, they can bite you in the ass later on. But I can assure you that 100% of the time, every one of those guys that you trade are not going to be full-blown great to stars. If they're reasonable, a good player is fine. You deal with it. But, at the end of the day, you're getting Juan Soto. You're not getting a scrub. It's like you traded for a guy that you're 50-50 on. I don't worry about Juan Soto coming to New York. That's not going to affect him. He's a great player, defensively, offensively, everything. So I like the Brett Beatty, keeping him around because he can play every day. Alvarez can't. You ain't going to keep when there's a getaway day, a day game after a night game, Alvarez is not playing that game. If there's a doubleheader, you're already losing him for another game. So, if you really think about it, Alvarez every year will play 130 games, right? Just because he's a catcher. With Beatty, you could see him playing 150 games, 155 games a year. That's why Beatty's more valuable than Alvarez. Strike, exactly. He's more. The best case scenario, Salvador Perez. But how realistic is that? Salvador Perez came up as a guy who was a great defensive catcher who had the possibility of having great power. Well, he came into that offense, and he's a great player all around. I don't trust the fact that Alvarez is going to be either. I think he's going to be great offensively, but if his defense is okay, and then he's not playing every day because he's a catcher. Well, you're already losing 30+ games because he's a catcher. Because of a day game after a night game, double headers, and so forth, things like that. And then the wear and tear of a catcher, where there's no guarantee that he's going to be with the Mets 10+ years because he's a catcher. So, yeah, that's true too. Thinking of that, now you can bring up the argument, well, there's a DH but the whole point of not playing a catcher behind the plate or playing him that game is to keep him off his feet completely. Would you do a scenario where he's not catching but he's DHing when he's not catching because his back's so good? Yeah, you can do that with Alvarez, but the whole point of not playing a catcher is to get him off his feet. And on top of that, if he's DHing, now you're going to have to carry a third catcher as well. Because if Nito's still the backup catcher, he's playing catcher, he gets hurt. Well, guess what? Now your DH is your catcher. Now you don't have no catcher. So you're going to have to put another a third catcher in this roster. It's not that big of a deal considering that you have the DH, so there's not a lot of double switches anymore or anything like that. So that's an aspect that you can think about as well. But when you give a catcher a day off, you're not going to DH him because you want to keep him off his feet. Yes, maybe a pitch hit assignment late in games. Yes, but you're probably going to lose between 25 and 30 games a year from a catcher, no matter what, because of giving him days off behind the plate. Yeah, I could see Alvarez being better and James McCann all around. But, the thing is, we don't know, say if we bring Alvarez up next year, or if he becomes a starter, you got Scherzer, you got Bass, you got veteran pitchers, Carrasco, guys like that, who are veteran pitchers who like to work fast, who don't like the, shake off signs, get the sign, go, throw to the plate. With Alvarez, it's such a learning experience. You don't want him to be focusing so much on the catching aspect of playing the game that it affects his offense as well. So there's so much to think about as well with that. So again, that's why I would put Alvarez in trade to keep Beatty around if you get Juan Soto. All right, let's see if we can get to everybody's comments in the next 10 minutes. Wayne, the Mets call up Vientos. I still think so. I still don't think the DH spot is any good. I think Vientos should get the call up and keep Vientos up, see what he can do. And then, one of the two got to go down. Maybe Davis or Smith. Probably Davis. Give Vientos a shot, in my opinion. Steven, I don't think Kansas City is going to give up Perez at all, honestly. He's basically the face of the franchise at that point. Oh yeah, like I said, like that's why I think, there's you can do that. The DH, kind of hides the fact that you have a light hitting catcher. But in the Mets case, we have light hitting catchers, but our DH spot sucks. So it kind of shines a light on our catchers offensively because our DH is basically non-existent at this point. Like, let's be honest, guys. The DH, the catcher spot, and the third base spot in Escobar hasn't done anything offensively all year. Yet, this Mets team is 13 games over 500 and in first place in the NL East. Imagine if that worked out, of the all three I said, and they're playing well, this team might be 17, 18 games over 500. But being 13 games over 500 with those things I just talked about, third base being non-existent offensively, catching non-existent offensively, and DH nothing offensively. It comes a point in time where if one of those start to pan out, this team is going to be much better. So, I lost the spot. Damn it. Yeah, the Mets ain't calling up Alvarez yet. That's for sure. Oh, Ron, still in Denver, just like me. Yeah, I'm happy with 2 out of 3. It's always a crapshoot in Colorado because, a lot of runs could be scored, even though there wasn't a lot of runs scored in this series, except for yesterday in Game 2. Taking 2 out of 3 in Colorado, you take it and run. It's very hard to sweep in this in Colorado because of the amount of offense that can happen. So, yeah, exactly, Strike. That's a good point when it comes to Bar. Yeah, And that's the way you have to think of. Alvarez can come up and not be a very good catcher, but be good offensively, and it's like, okay, great. But when you need that, when you got that, if you have a veteran rotation with a young Alvarez who's not good behind the plate, it can affect both sides of the plate. It could affect the offensive side, and it could affect the pitching staff because he's not good at blocking balls or not good at framing pitches. That's a problem, and you can't have that problem when you're trying to win a World Series. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That's the reason why if Dominic Smith was hitting, he would be in the lineup every day either. Some days playing first, some days DHing, but he's not. So it's hard to put him in the lineup. Same thing with JD Davis. You know, like I said, if one of the three, catching, third base, or DH, start producing offensive wise, this team is going to be very good, even better than what they are right now. And we only need one. We don't even need all of them. One more offensive burst from one of those positions can mean everything to this lineup. Remember, the Mets got Eduardo Escobar to put behind Pete Alonso for protection because Escobar is a guy who can hit you 25 to 30 home runs. He's a run producer. That's why you put him behind Alonso. That was the idea in signing Escobar because he's a run producer. Pete Alonso is going to get more pitches to hit because they don't want to face Escobar, who is, prior to this year, is a hard guy to get out. He always gives tough at bat. Prior to this year, that's why it's such a big hole behind Pete Alonso because Escobar was supposed to be that guy. Yeah, Marshall, we saw that with the Diamondbacks for sure. Oh, Grant, sorry. Yeah, I don't think the Mets are going to go to catcher route. I think because you're going to have to go with a prospect, even though he's a rental. Uh, Again, you're going to give up a prospect with Contreras, who's a guy that the Mets are probably not going to sign at the end of the year because they still got McCann for 2 more years, and Alvarez is right in the work. So at that point, I don't think it's using your assets wisely, Ron. Even though I understand why you're saying it right now, because you're looking at a catcher situation with McCann out for 6 weeks, and it's terrible. But you can't make that trade based on, having Alvarez in the works and Contreras being a rental. It's hard to think because you're gonna have to send Nito down, where I don't know if he has any more options, and that's just I don't like. Who are you gonna play every day? Are you gonna pick, you know, sit your $40 million man in McCann because you got Contreras who is better? I think that's hard to use that asset for a catcher when you can use that asset for a JD Martinez who is a DH which this team needs. Behind the plate, you're not losing much, honestly. They've been pretty good defensively with McCann out. Offensively, Mazika has his moments. Nito is basically hit or miss, but it's not like we are getting offense from McCann anyway. So I'm more concerned about the defense when it comes to the catcher. I'm more worried about either the third base spot with Escobar. If you have to play Guillorme every day, you do it because he's been better offensively. But we need that DH spot, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, he has that track record, but the thing I'm worried about, it's nearly the end of May. You know, did Father Time catch up to him all of a sudden? I mean, you see this all the time with players who everybody's like, oh, I don't think he's too old yet. And then, some players, Father Times comes quicker. And it's a possibility that it just caught up to Escobar. You never know. I don't think so, but it's a possibility. Let's hope not. Sorry, guys. Let's try to catch up here. Roberta, I mean, if they can get Soto, man, that would be beautiful. But you know what? Nobody can get mad at the fact of who they give up. in that because like there will be Mets fans. I'm telling you this right now. If the Mets next month trade for Juan Soto and they give up four top 10 prospects, I can guarantee you some Mets fans are going to be like, "Oh my God, how can you get rid of your prospect? Yeah, you got Juan Soto, but they'll be the first guys cheering like a lunatic when he hits a game-winning home run for the Mets." So at the end of the day, if you want to win a World Series, you're gonna have to get release that stranglehold on your prospects. That's what winning teams do. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to make a big trade and a prospect you're probably not gonna want to give to get that finishing piece that this team needs. That's how you win championships. Go back to the last 10 World Series champions. Every year, they made an important trade that benefited them and helped them win a World Series. Just go back the last 10 years. Guarantee you there was a trade during the deadline or right before the deadline that helped put the team over the top and got a World Series championship. So expect the trade. Expect a big trade. Prospects that you might not want to give up to get that piece that we're going to need. Misty, what's up? Let's go Mets. Yeah, Grant, they've definitely been a surprise. You know what? We need these guys. You know what? We need the bench mob 2.0 to get the job done when guys in their position is either injured or not performing. Championship teams have that surprise that nobody expected stepping up. And Mazika and Guillorme have been doing that so far. Yeah, Chris Bryant didn't look good, but he just came back from injury. Again, maybe the Mets, I was a big advocate for the Mets getting Chris Bryant. Again, I think he's in a weird situation. I don't think it's talent that's going down, so to speak. I honestly think he goes to a Cubs team where he won a World Series, they're competitive, then goes to the Rockies who are going to the NL. He's going to the NL West where there is no shot in hell that the Rockies are making the playoffs in the next 10 years. I'm sorry, they're not. With the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants always at the top of the list, or top of the division, it's even hard to make a wild card spot in that division. So it doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't understand why he would. I know it's the money, but, you're not winning. And I think that brings less of oh shit, I got to do good type of scenario. Like if Chris Bryant bats 320, hit 35 home runs, and knocks in 110 RBIs for the next 6 years, the Rockies are still probably not making the playoffs. Maybe 1 year they might sneak in as a wild card, but they're not winning the division anytime soon. That Chris Bryant signing made no sense for the Rockies because they don't have enough good players to make. Are they going to make another big signing to piece with Chris Bryant? Probably not. So it was just a pointless signing just to appease their fans that were bitching and say, "Hey, look, we said that we did something, and it means absolutely nothing." They're still going to probably be under a 500 team, and even if they are over a 500 team, they're not making the playoffs. Yeah, 23. That's what it is, Joey. All right, guys. So we got about a minute or two left. Let me see if I can get to this quick couple of um comments. Unconscious says rental that costs prospects is even more sketchy. Well, Unconscious, we're not really talking about that. I know, when it comes to JD Martinez, you don't give up two. You might have to give, probably a lower top 10, top 15 prospect plus Dominic Smith to get JD Martinez. Again, I honestly think Dominic Smith is just not. It's just not working out here. Send him away. Let him play every day in Boston as their first baseman. They need a first baseman, so they'll gladly take Dominic Smith, who is still cheap, under control, and give him a top 15 prospect. Between 10 and 15. That is projected to be pretty good. You send him that way. I think that's enough for JD Martinez. Contreras, I don't think it's a good idea to go after him because he's a catcher who's a rental, where McCann's coming back, and yes, you're gonna play Contreras on McCann, and that might just cause bad vibes, in my opinion. But when it comes to Juan Soto, who is not a rental, who still has 2.5 years left on his contract, and the Mets and Steve Cohen are not going to let him go to free agency, so he's going to get a massive league-breaking record deal as in Major League Baseball. So he would do that. That's not a problem. You give up the farm. Now, granted, I'm not saying give up Alvarez, Beatty, Mauricio, Ramirez, Vientos. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is keep Alvarez or Beatty out of the package. Everybody else, let them name. 4 prospects. Say if you want, I would rather keep Beatty out. So pick 4 prospects from our top 10. Get the deal done for Soto. Because you're going to have him for 2 more years. You're going to sign him. And he's in his prime for the next 7 to 8 years. Guaranteed. He's going to be 24 years old when he was 24, 25 years old when he becomes a free agent. You're going to have him for 2 years. Even if you sign him to a 10-year deal at 25, he's going to be 35 years old when that contract ends. There's a pretty good chance you got 7 or 8 years of that contract from the year of 25 years old to have great years out of them 10. And there's no doubt about that. And I think that's more important than any other trade you can make. That's when you give up the farm for that. Exactly, PJC. I think PJC, you said that. I forgot. I lost. Yeah, he was the one that said the Cubs, look, they traded their top prospect in Torres to get a closer. And the Cubs won the World Series. Granted, Chapman wasn't great for them in the playoffs, but they still made that deal that elevated that team to win a World Series in 2016. And that's what I've been saying. Go back 10 years. That team that won the World Series made a trade near or on the deadline that helped them win a World Series. They don't stay pat and win a World Series. Even the Dodgers, they basically got everything you can ask for, will still probably make a trade during the deadline. It's just that simple. Great teams, good teams that are trying to win a World Series are going to make that big deal. All right, guys, so I'm going to be cutting it just now. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to everybody left. Yes, haha, the Yankees lost. Yeah, but 1189. We're not talking about JD Martinez and giving up all those guys. You don't got to give up a lot of prospects for JD Martinez. He's a rental. You might have to give between a 10 and a 15 prospect plus Dominic Smith. You make that trade. I'm not saying giving them, Alvarez or Beatty or Martinez. That's insane. That's a Brody Van Wagenen deal. Kalenic for Cano and Diaz. No. For JD Martinez, you give a lower prospect between 10 and 15 on your prospect list and Dominic Smith. Other than that, you don't do that trade. You don't give up the farm for JD Martinez. That's stupid as a rental. For Soto, you give up the farm. And I know everybody talking about, we got to rebuild our farm system. We got to rebuild our farm system. Great. Rebuild them. That's fine. But at the end of the day, if you're not paying attention, this team is a win-now team. It's just that simple. But again, if the Mets have unconscious, I get what you're saying. But if the Mets come with the best package, the Nationals are going to take that trade. It's just that simple. All right, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in to Mets Talk Live on this Sunday night. I think it's like 10 o'clock at night in New York, 8 o'clock by me. So once again, guys, really appreciate you guys hanging in there. Chatting Mets baseball. Took another series of the 2022 season. Next up, San Francisco Giants in San Francisco. Let's see if the Mets can win another series and come back home against the Phillies. Once again, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Have a good night. Let's go Mets. Out from Colorado. Have a good night, guys. Let's go Mets. See you guys next time.